Day 2 of the E-Road Australian Rally Championship finds us in southeast Queensland, just an hour inland from the beautiful Sunshine Coast, the hinterland of this region surrounding us. This is the Accent Benchtops Rally Queensland. Another beautiful day here in the area of Gympie. 29 degrees is our expected maximum today, making for fast conditions. We're at Greendale. This is our stage we'll be taking you through today on our broadcast. 15.5 kilometres, and we are 20 kilometres west of Gympie today. So we've moved away from the Imbil State Forest where we were yesterday to the Shire roads just on the outskirts of Gympie. A beautiful region, a heritage region for rallying. Chris Stubbs with you and Greg Rust alongside me. Rusty, welcome. We're underway for a massive season.
Another beautiful day, Stubbsy. Good morning to you. Good morning, everybody. Dust might be an issue. We revert from the 3-minute gaps that we established in the kind of mid-morning part of yesterday's competition back to 2 minutes this morning. So that'll be a talking point today, just depending. We've got a little bit of a breeze around, not huge, but a little bit at the moment, which is to the competitors' benefit. This Greendale stage is something interesting. It is a kind of, in talking with Harry Bates this morning, a stage of 3 parts. Shire Road, into the forest after about 4 Ks, and then it pops out onto National Park Road at the very end. This is a really demanding stage, and one of the things that Harry pointed out to us in the lead-up is high growth on the sides of the road from recent rain, the warm weather now, and so on. So it is very hard to judge the corner exits. You have to commit to the pace notes.
Rusty, we had the lot yesterday, didn't we? We had plenty of drama, but last night the Campbell's Super Special stage was an absolute highlight to kick off our season. Let's have a look at the calendar, of course. Round 1 of 6 for the season for the E-Road Australian Rally Championship. Next up, next month, we head to WA for the ARC's round in Forest, which we love. That's another heritage event, Rusty.
I mean, it's steeped in tradition for our sport here. When you look at the calendar there too, we are in sprint mode for this opening event of the championship. So we have 2 heats Saturday. You can reset on Sunday if you have a problem on Saturday, and then get back in the game and still fight for some points. But there are 2 key endurance events to think about: Tasmania and the final round at Gippsland. You've got to be there at the end of the event, Stubbsy.
That's it. So you mentioned the sprint and the enduros. This round, yes, it's a sprint round. Yesterday, Heat 1 won by Harry Bates. So he took the 60 points for yesterday, a lead of 17 seconds over Scott Pedder. We saw our first ever Saturday power stage in the history of the ARC. That was won by Lewis Bates. Lewis showing us his fare on the tarmac, winning both of our Campbell's Super Special stages. As we took rally to the people in the heart of Gympie, the fireworks, that was something to behold, wasn't it?
There was something like, I think in this region there are 50,000 people. If there wasn't 1 in 4 there last night, I'll give it away. It was absolutely huge. Congratulations to everyone involved for bringing the sport into town under lights. It looks spectacular, and they did a really nice job with that 2K stage through town.
That's it. Well, that leads us into taking a look at how yesterday unfolded, day 1 of the new season.
The opening day of the E-Road Australian Rally Championship for 2026 was well worth the wait as competition kicked off with the Accent Benchtops Rally of Queensland. Heat 1 consisted of 8 stages covering 106 kilometres and finished with a bang in front of a huge crowd on the streets of Gympie. It was a fast start to the season for 3-time ARC champion Harry Bates, who took out the day by 17 seconds over Scott Pedder, while Lewis Bates finished 3rd after wins in the power stage and both of the tarmac Super Special stages.
Yeah, fantastic day in the car for Coral and I. Really got into a groove from probably stage 2 onwards, and from there we were able to just consolidate and extend our lead where we wanted to and back off a little bit where we had to as well.
Very tough day, but we got to the end and had a pretty strong day actually, so congratulations to Harry and Coral, and look forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, strong day after the first 2 stages where we were a bit slow and lost a bit of time, but after that we had a strong day, and 3 stage wins and maximum points in the power stage.
Josh Redhead and Ray Winwood-Smith cleaned up in Wolf Sport Cup, winning Heat 1 by 1 minute 38 over Toby Price. Riley Walters drove around a 3rd gear issue to take Junior Cup. The Evo 3 of Ian Griffin and Emmett McNulty claimed Classic Cup on the first day here in Queensland. Subaru's WRX Challenge made for compulsory viewing. Riley Walters kept Toby Price honest in the morning, but the Dakar winner claimed the class by nearly a minute at day's end. And in the all-new East Coast Cup, Troy Dowell won by just 2 seconds over Redhead and Tony Sullins.
It was tough to start with. It took a little bit to get the skirt off and try and find a rhythm this morning. It's still a very new car, but we found a rhythm this Harvey. Didn't put a foot wrong. Yeah, we had a good day.
It was a pretty challenging day today. I tried my best to end my day early on the second stage, throwing it off into the grass, but managed to get it back on the road, and just sort of had to rebuild the flow throughout the afternoon, and happy with the result. And looking forward to tomorrow.
Awesome. I wasn't really expecting it, but no, we've just tried to get through the day as fast as we can and without as many dramas as we can. So no, I'm really happy to come away with that. So,
we've had a great day. So working with Benny is, we've changed the system a little bit and everything's worked really well. So yeah, big thanks to the crew here at National Motorsport. They've kept these Subaru WRX Challenge cars getting across the line. All 5 got across. So yeah.
First time out in a new car. Because I usually run classic two-wheel drive, and that's my first time out in four-wheel drive, and it's a bit of a learning curve, more wheels driving, a bit different.
First cars on approach here, Stubbsy, and this is Harry Bates leading the way, we believe, at this point by around about 13 seconds. So Lewis Bates, I beg your pardon, I should recap there. We had the revised ballot overnight for the second heat, and it swapped around the Toyota competitors. I should recap that, sorry. Harry was first on the road yesterday. Today it's Lewis, and he had some spring in his step this morning, didn't he?
That's it, he absolutely did. He finished the day in style yesterday. Let's hear from Lewis Bates.
Lewis, you drew car 1 last night in the ballot. Obviously that sets you up for a pretty awesome day today.
I think so, yeah. At least we don't have to worry about the dust. We've got the road to ourselves. It's still another challenging day, so we'll have to push hard and get into a nice rhythm, and it'll just be nice not having to worry about the dust today.
Lewis Bates there. Scott Petter will be the second of our competitors. Let's catch up and get a word from Scott.
A very close second for you guys yesterday. What's the plan of attack for today?
Oh, look, similar day, I think. It was, without the dust, we probably would have been a bit closer yesterday. So I think it's going to be the same this morning. We've drawn car 2, so we're in the same position as yesterday, and the Bates boys have swapped around. So that might be a little bit of advantage to us. But it's a long season, so just get out there and try and have a good run and good finish.
How are you going to try and find some extra time today then?
Just maybe a bit neater, cleaner. It's only really our 3rd or 4th rally in this car, so still learning a lot. So it's starting to come to us in sections. It's just trying to piece together a complete stage at the moment.
Our reporter Jackie Shivey there with both Scott Petter and Glenn McNeil. So just to update you, so far today we have had 2 stages already. Glastonbury, 21 kilometres. It was Harry Bates fastest there, ahead of Scott Petter by 9 seconds. Lewis in third, some 13.8 seconds further back. And then in stage 10, Gympie Gold, 4 kilometres. Harry Bates again from Lewis and Scott Petter, the man on screen.
Epic pictures coming your way from the water crossing. This is different to last year, Stubbsy. They came downhill and turned right last year. This year, uphill and left behind us. Up Path Road now. We're covered in dust. How good. This is what it's all about.
Well, and that's why we picked this section. We're about a third of the way into our 15-kilometre Greendale stage because we knew the action would be thick and fast. Let's hear from Harry Bates, our next runner.
Harry, you drew car 3 in the ballot last night. What are you hoping to do today? What's your plan of attack?
We need to go out and assess how the dust situation is. They're only running 2-minute gaps this morning, which is a bit disappointing, but we'll see how the conditions are and go from there. If the dust is bad, you can only do so much, but for sure we had a good feeling in the car yesterday, so we'll try and take that into today.
Any car changes for today then?
No car changes. We were actually, pretty fortunate to start the rally yesterday with a good setup, so we'll just have to check. A couple of the stages today are a bit different in characteristic as far as they're more of a shire road and that can be a looser surface, but for the forestry stuff I reckon we're pretty dialed in.
He had clear road yesterday. Drawing car 1 on the road. Different story being third in the order this morning. But, you just rattled off the numbers there before. It went back to 2-minute dust gaps. It doesn't seem to be hampering him so far. So we're waiting for Harry Bates and the ultra-experienced Coral Taylor, very successful co-driver, the GOAT in many respects. And here we go. So we're getting some decent shots from our drone here now. Very fast piece of road as they approach us. You'll see them dip down across a water crossing and then head up the road behind us. And that's the big difference to 2025. They ran the opposite direction last year. So Harry talks about it almost being like a new piece of road, but it's because you're going the other way compared to last season.
That's it, so very different. There we go, across
How good.
The causeway, the water spraying out from the sides of the Yaris as he works his way up towards us. Another real little dip before you make your incline up with the camber on the inside of this sharp left-hander. Great stuff as well. Once again, we get sprayed by the rocks and the dust of our ARC cars. All right, let's hear from our next runner. A great performance there from Harry, looking smooth as he went past. Likewise, one of our star performers so far this weekend, the 18-year-old Jackson Long.
All right, you both had an epic day yesterday. What's the plan for today?
Just go out and enjoy ourselves. Today's probably my favourite day in terms of stages from last year. We've got a couple ones that are common from last year, so the same notes, we've made some adjustments. So yeah, we'll just go out and have fun, bring it home. That's pretty much the plan.
And can you talk us through those adjustments?
Yeah, so we're just sort of neatening up the notes, trying to take a bit of detail out. We're obviously at a bit higher pace now, so keeping up for Dad is a little bit trickier with so much detail, so we're just trying to whittle it down a bit, but he's doing an awesome job, so yeah.
Great combination, this too. I mean, really cool story. I mean, to have your dad alongside you, 18 years of age, wrapped up the HSC last year, has paused potential university studies around agriculture and has focused on this opportunity in rally. Huge step up for him. And I think the takeaway from that interview there before is just bring it home today. Yeah. He did a really good job in Heat 1. This has been the ideal start for him, I think, to the campaign that sees him at the pointy end of the order.
Fascinating about the notes there too, isn't it? It's a great insight into getting that balance right between too much information but getting the timing of the delivery of them right too, so that you can actually process what you're being told.
I'll talk a little bit about that later on with Toby Price. They've made a significant change in the style of notes they are using this weekend, along with Ben Searcy, a new co-driver. Let's focus on Jackson Long here. And, I mean, yesterday was really clean, tidy, brought that car back without a mark on it to Maximum Motorsport. Let's not forget it's an expansion to 2 cars this year. Scott Petter might be the lead runner, but they've got ultra faith in this young man and his future. Look at the line he takes. Beautifully done on the run up the hill. We get showered once again. Well, if he was going to take... Conservative's not the right word, Stubbsy, but there was nothing conservative about that. Exactly.
All right, let's get to our next runner, who is Josh Redhead. He won the Wolf Sports Cup yesterday for Heat 1. He's in great form.
Josh, you were working on the car a little bit last night. Can you talk us through what you were doing?
It was a basic check-over. We had a bit of a hard hit with the causeway, just squashing exhaust, so we thought we'd do some panel beating and a little bit of late-night repairs, just trying to have the best car we can today. And apart from that, everything looked pretty good, so we'll go out and have some fun today.
So what's the plan for today then?
There's a little bit of wanting to consolidate, but at the same time, if we can pick up the good rhythm we found yesterday afternoon, we'll just go out and see what the morning stages bring, and we'll go from there.
The Winpart Group, Mitsubishi Lancer Evo, kind of a classic piece of machinery in rallying in a prior era. Now, we just see the graphic there talking about the Croziers. I'm not sure if that's correct in terms of the order there,
Not
Stubbsy,
the start list we were provided with to begin today, no.
We believe it should be Josh Redhead next on approach, unless there has been some sort of issue. He's targeting up to 4 events in 2026 with the very experienced Ray Winwood-Smith, aiming to contend in something new for the season this year, and that is the East Coast Cup, along with the Wolf Sport Cup as well, eyeing up those 2 titles.
Fascinating to see that different line from Jackson Long working his way through behind us on the last runner through. He was fantastic yesterday on the tarmac too last night. Faster than Scott Petter, the former champion. His team
by
boss.
half a second.
Yeah, remarkable stuff. And his first time in a rally car on tarmac shows how Josh is doing. How Jackson's doing. But let's focus though on Josh Redhead as he works his way towards us now.
Great shot as he makes his way through the crossing. One thing we haven't spoken about, Stubbsy, is the atmosphere at this point on the corner of Paff Road. We have got a huge amount of spectators here, all with their phones out. Let's take a look at how he tackles the left-hander. Little stab at the brake as he tries to get it turned, and it was wide off the exit of that corner. When you compare it, different car admittedly, and different horsepower and so on, to what Jackson Long achieved through there.
That's it. Just had to take some pace off, didn't he, on the exit of that corner, because he was a little bit wide, a couple of wheels off into the grass there, but we love it. Absolutely pushing it to the maximum. Likewise, Troy Dowell. Now, he was 5th outright yesterday and won the East Coast Cup, our all-new class, if you like, within the Australian Rally Championship this year. Let's hear from Troy with Jackie.
All right, Troy, are there any stages today that you're particularly looking forward to?
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to Glastonbury. It's one of my favourite stages on the calendar. It has like really technical but like nice flow to it. So yeah, really looking forward to, enjoying the fast stages out there today.
Good combination, this. Bernie Webb alongside him. They're in the 2020 Yaris GR AP4 car, run under the Bates Motorsport umbrella. Had a day of, I think, the way he talks about it, just some challenges yesterday morning, but it came right, was good in the afternoon for him.
We do have our first time through. I'll update you there, Rusty. Lewis Bates, of course, our first run of the day, 24:52.3. So that's the benchmark for the others to chase. Of course, Lewis has that clear visibility at the front, but so far today it hasn't been the advantage that we thought it might have been, that we thought explained the speed from Harry yesterday. So that adds another exclamation mark to the times that Harry was able to set yesterday. But we're focusing now on Troy Dowell. He's been involved in a great battle with Josh Redhead. Their times over every stage have been a second or so apart.
Got a little bit of WRC flavour happening. Someone has one of those air horns in the background, I think, to let us know that Dowell is on approach here. 25 years of age. Let's watch through here. Nice and tight at the apex of the corner, allows it to run out to the very edge. That was tidy, clinical, nicely done.
Love the mentorship from Bernie Webb too. He's very experienced co-driver. Together they are such a fun-loving team, and the way he just helps to guide Troy through each round is quite remarkable.
Very good pair of hands in a co-driving sense to have alongside you. Here's a little look at the beautiful part of the world we are in here. So we are just about 170 k's north of Brisbane. You have the Sunshine Coast beaches, those idyllic beaches not all that far away. And in the hinterland, there's so much hospitality here, Stubbsy. It's been wonderful to be back.
Oh, they're loving every moment of it as well. Almost 15,000 people registering to attend this weekend's stages. And why not when you've got the variety of the Imbil State Forest and then here to Booyah. But our next competitor, Tony Sullins, he's had a bit of a battle so far this weekend. A couple of issues, a door and some overheating, Rusty.
We're hearing that is continuing,
right.
So that it may not necessarily just be the overheating now. We think it's actually morphed into an engine problem. And he flagged that last night in the interview with Jackie at the end of the super special stage, that it was a worry. The temp had been running quite high during the day. They pressed on. He was electric on the super special stage. He didn't hold back. But it's compounded, unfortunately, and that was his worry going into Sunday.
Didn't stop him from having a crack and putting on a show
Not at all.
on the super special stage, that's for sure. But we did see as we were leaving the Telstra Service Park today, they still had the bonnet up and they were working on that car. So still trying to get a fix, but Tony's not one to put up the white flag, is he? He will continue to make sure he's completing the stages and collecting the points.
Car with a bit of history too, when you look back, the boss of the ARC, Adrian Coppin, campaigned this car at one stage. Mark Pedder is another who has run it, about 10 years old. Peugeot, one of the original AP4 cars into the country. Let's have a watch here and see what it's like through the spectator point. All the fans with their phones out.
Quite a different style there on the turning, didn't he? He kept it firing straight towards us for longer and a much sharper input to get it around and turn.
I'm just pausing to listen to it there. And I mean, it didn't have, naturally, a little bit of an older car relative to others. It just didn't have the same level of grunt through the corner there, and that, I think, reflects the engine issue. So Jackie will chase that for us. We'll get another update for you before we're live on KO this afternoon as well.
So at this point, we'll give you a check on times once again. A few more have come through, completing this stage 11. Harry Bates at the top of the timesheets, 8:47.6. Scott Pedder, if I can get the reflection and the dust off my phone, 8 seconds back there, Scott Pedder, and Lewis Bates 14 seconds back. So Harry with the foot down once again.
The intriguing thing there, we talked about it before, we're back to 2-minute gaps this morning. We extended it to 3 yesterday to help the competitors cope with that standing dust. We didn't have much in the way of wind around, and certainly in the morning and middle part of the day to clear the dust. But it has, Lewis has, in theory, the ideal road position. Yeah. But it's in fact Harry, third car on the road, that's doing the job at the moment. He'll get home for just a handful of days to the ACT, to Canberra, where they're based there at Bates Motorsport, home for the Bates family, before he jets out to Portugal. He'll have about 3 days on the ground in Portugal before he gets to tackle that round in a WRC2 car.
And that's iconic.
He's so excited about it. It's a great opportunity for him, and the absolute right approach. This is a perfect tune-up before he heads over there.
And he's had a taste of it, hasn't he, in New Zealand previously, competing over there at WRC. So what about fans? It is warm, 29 degrees, but a shout-out to Gympie Regional Council to visit Gympie Region, the Brisbane Sporting Car Club. They're putting on a show. Likewise, our competitors too. Josh Weedman had some problems yesterday, looking quick today. He's bouncing back and firing away on the exit.
Do you know what was good about that? You flick the car to the right before it turns to the left. It's a sequence, right? And he absolutely nailed that then. Beautifully done by Josh. Queensland-based rally driver, emerging as one of our promising young talents, originally from Logan Village in the southeast of Queensland. Began competing at age 15. Nice job through there.
Certainly was. Yesterday, bogged early on and had a boost problem as well. So he's back and firing. Riley Walters. Let's catch up with Riley Walters. He's coming up not too far away.
Riley, a couple of car issues yesterday. You lost third gear. What have your team done to get you back on the road today?
Yeah, so the team were ready yesterday afternoon. We told them the sad news that we lost third gear, and they had a spare gearbox in the truck there and put it in. I think they had it in. We just watched the videos. They had it in and out within like 20 minutes, so they did awesome. And then obviously re-prepped the rest of the car for today. So now they've smashed it out. Like, we've got the best team here, I reckon. So they've done an awesome job. So we're ready to go again for today.
They have a 2-hour window to get that done, Stubbsy. Overnight. Brilliant job by the crew on that car that have integrated with Maximum Motorsport to get it done comfortably within that time frame. Now, I think what you were alluding to there before, for those that have perhaps had a look this morning on rally.com.au and had a look at our start list for today and so on, we were expecting the Croziers at this point. So they are inbound now, but there has been an issue. I think they had a spin, we're being told, on the previous stage. So just arriving a little out of, I guess, sequence to what we were expecting.
Well, it's been a busy weekend for them yesterday. Those following along on our ARC socials may have spotted a big fire coming out of the front of that car yesterday, the Campbell's Super Special stage. So they had that to deal with. They had some handbrake issues that were causing that rusty. So great to see them back out here today.
He's going tentatively here, but the handbrake was stuck on in the forest stages, and it was compounded, as you say, on the Super Special. So gets through there. Short shift in the Fiesta. They were actually two separate issues, Stubbsy. The power steering line had a small cut or some sort of problem with it, and the fluid during the Super Special leaked onto the exhaust and caused that fire. Great job by the volunteers to get it extinguished, and then a bit of help locally here to source a new fire canister, or what we call a fire bomb, to ensure that he could run safely here today.
Yeah, very well done, and certainly made for some spectacular viewing. We had the pyrotechnics on the streets of Gympie yesterday. And then we had the Croziers providing just a few extra flames as well. So now we will see Riley Walters coming through. A gearbox change overnight, as we've detailed and heard from him a few moments ago. He lost that third, but won the Junior Cup still yesterday, and he's a real talent to watch, isn't he?
Absolutely, and with the support of Glenn Brinkman here, giving him this opportunity in the car that we've regularly seen Glenn competing in last season. And apart from Canberra, when you think about it, Riley Walters really hasn't done the ARC before, so I feel like this has whet his appetite now. It's a great framework for him to be in there. They brought some of their own people, obviously, but have worked closely with Team Boss Dean Herridge and all of the wonderful crew. They're up to 30 staff at Maximum Motorsport for the 7 cars this weekend. And yesterday, in the morning, he genuinely kept Toby Price on his toes, kept him honest, didn't he? So it was a really good performance. It stretched out in the afternoon, and as he detailed with Jackie at the end of the Super Special stage, that was because he was driving around the third gear problem. Real smart. Sometimes he had to use second gear where he'd ideally like to be in third or fourth, for example, but he drove around the problem, got it to the end.
So the WRX Challenge, 5 cars competing this weekend in that class, the most we've seen as he makes his way down and starts his ascent. Is a little bit wide on the initial turning point, but tidies it up and flicks plenty of dust in style.
That was good. I reckon that was good. At the end of this stage, Stubbsy, a couple of people talking with these cars about the need to be mindful of some of the ruts because of the rain that we've had when they emerge from the forest onto the National Park Road. There are, you know, through general usage and four-wheel drives and so on, a couple of little ruts there, and the suspension travel on these fundamentally, you know, adapted from a road-going WRX, you just have to be a little bit mindful in those final few Ks.
So this is a great opportunity here to see two competitors of different experience. Yes, Toby hasn't had heaps of four-wheel experience as yet, but in same componentry, same piece of track. Let's have a look at the different approaches between them.
He was in deep conversation this morning with Graham Iddles, Toby Price. They're on the back of the Maximum Motorsport truck, and I thought, oh, they'll be talking, you know, road conditions or notes or whatever. No, they were talking about hot rod restorations, the pair of them. They've both got cool project cars at the moment. They're comparing the builds. Interesting conversation, though, with Ben Searcy, right? Really experienced co-driver. And he said, you know what, we've changed it up for this event. Ordinarily, in rallying terms last year, Toby worked with a 1 to 10 system, but Ben said, you know what, you're used to a 1 to 6 with some of this off-road activity that you've been doing. Why don't we run a 1 to 6 system here? And it's working for Toby, so working this weekend. Good job.
Yeah, great insights, Rusty. So overall for this stage, it's Bates, Petter, Bates being Harry, and then another Bates being Lewis from Long. Troy Dow's time has popped through now, and he was 23 seconds ahead of Josh Redhead in that battle that they've been having so far. So Troy, great performance there. Let's focus, though, on Toby Price. He'll be aggressive, as always.
Tidy through the water splash there a moment ago. Through the right-hander, then he'll flick it left. And he just looks like he's been around rallying for years, doesn't he? Amazing performance off the back of that 8th place overall, the strongest finish by any Australian in the car category in Dakar earlier this year. Awesome to have him back in the ARC this year.
That was very smooth.
Exactly right.
And yeah. I dare say it, not as aggressive perhaps as what we may have expected or seen previously, driving within himself a little bit.
But I think that's the smarts, isn't it? So,
now,
you know, talking with the likes of Maximum Motorsport, you've taken a beautifully prepared, fundamentally road car with you know, the necessary rally extensions, if you want to call it that, and you do have to treat it a certain way, and he's just shown there, you know, squeezing the maximum from the car, pardon the pun, but in the same breath, real smooth, absolutely.
Yeah, and so good to see the facilities that are around us at the moment. The fans loving seeing Toby
There
Price.
There is a coffee cart here.
That's what I was just going to say. It has been used, and it was very good. So shout out to everyone and the little dog, their mascot there, Dusty, who we had a bit of fun with as well. But the Brisbane Sporting Car Club and the Gympie Regional Council have done a great job. People standing on top of vehicles here just to get the best possible vantage point. And Toby, being a Queenslander, had huge support coming through.
We've had the president of Motorsport Australia, Andrew Fraser, here having a little look on as well. And a big g'day to Conrad Stepaniak and everybody from E-Road, our wonderful partners in the championship. Conrad was out here with family yesterday checking out the action too.
Yeah, his young son Chase was here and loving it, and that's another motorsport man that we've just converted there, young Chase.
Good luck with that, Conrad. I think he's going to be in trouble in the years to come. The young fella was really enjoying himself, which is great. Okay, so Jeff David on approach now. Stubbsy, ordinarily he would be at the wheel of a 1973 Porsche RS replica, right? Very different driving style required in this car. And he said, yesterday I needed to come to the car rather than the other way around. He said, you brake early in the WRX. You get on the power much earlier than the Porsche. He said, you know what? One thing I can guarantee, I am the fastest grandfather in the field, and I'm loving the aircon. So probably a little bit ginger through there relative to what we've seen from Riley and from Toby Price just moments ago. But you know what? Tidy.
That's it. We have another time come through as well. Tony Sullins. So he slots into 7th place of the 7 times that we've seen so far. 3 minutes 45 behind Harry Bates. Shane and Sylvie Garner, they're always putting on a show in their green Subaru. It's iconic. Let's hear from Shane.
All right, Shane, are there any stages out there today that you're particularly looking forward to?
Yeah, the longer stage, or Gympie Gold's always a favourite because short, sweet, and we'll just get into it, get through it, pop it out. The one before that, oh geez, I can't even think of the name. The longer stage this morning, it's going to be good. It looks a little bit rough out there, but it's, you know, over the past few years, it's got better and better. So going across the top of the mountain with all the humps, it's going to be interesting. Other than that, I'm just going to go out and enjoy it today.
Yeah, so feeling confident or just having a bit of fun?
Feeling pretty confident. It's heat 2, so we still can earn some points. Maybe get some points in the power stage. Just get in front of Ian. Ian's our main rival today. And in the Evo, we'll try and get the WRX through it.
Our 2025 ARC Classic winners, and they are much loved members of our service park, aren't they? Great pairing this.
If I could have a cup of his positivity every morning to start the day, it'd be a step ahead of the rest, wouldn't you? Shane Garner there, what a star he is. And yesterday it was a tough day for them. You can check out on the socials here for the ARC, some onboard vision and just the dust and the sun and the visibility. So left the road just slightly to the left and into the grass, into the bank a bit, and it did some damage too.
The competitors talk about a thing called sunstrike sometimes, so, you know, manifested by the dust, sun on the windshield, and it naturally can affect your vision around key things, apexes, braking points, and so on. And that was definitely a factor, I think, for Scott Petter. He openly put his hand up with what happened in Shakedown. He owned it, Scott. But I think when they look back at some of the onboard vision, that was, in part a factor of what happened to him that ultimately led to damaged steering. So it is a challenge for all of the competitors. And then you add to that what Harry Bates was talking to us about. You can see it behind us here. We have a kind of mowed edge section of the road here on the corner, but there's some of the tall growth on the side of the roads because we've had all of that rain. Then suddenly we've got 30-degree temperatures. Naturally, you get explosion of growth of grass and so on. And Harry said you absolutely have to commit to the notes. You've got to have the notes right, but it makes seeing some key aspects of the corners in this stage enormously tricky. It is demanding, this one.
Absolutely. So we've got 2-minute gaps today, as we detailed earlier, instead of the 3 that we saw yesterday because of the dust, but this feels like a much bigger gap than 2 minutes.
Yes.
So perhaps yesterday, after that small incident that the Garners had, they had to put a call out for a radiator. They managed to source one here in town. A fan as well was needed. They put the car back together. They completed the day yesterday, but
we haven't seen Kermit yet. I don't know what the nickname for that car is. You can't miss
the green
colour,
machine. We haven't seen it yet, so we'll keep an eye on how that progresses. But we'll take a moment then to recap the results from this stage, Super Stage, Special Stage number 11. So Harry Bates, 24:21.3. Scott Petter was 21 seconds back. Lewis Bates, 31 seconds back. Then Jackson Long really keeping the pressure on Lewis.
Excellent.
And Lewis obviously in the newer machinery there and with far more experience. So great job from Jackson. We've been singing his praises. Likewise, Troy Dow in 5th. Josh Redhead in 6th. Josh Weedman, great to see, in 7th. Tony Sullins in 8th. So our next car to come through, this is an iconic car. It's not the green machine of the Gardeners, so we haven't seen them. So we'll get you an update on what's happened for Shane and Sylvie Garner. Right now, it's going to be Wayne Stewart coming through in the punch buggy.
It's the more modern take on that, isn't it? The more modern shape. But I've been looking forward to seeing this car in action, and we were a little... not robbed, that's not the right word for it, but we didn't get the chance really to do that yesterday. They had some challenges along the way too, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, and great competitors. This car, everywhere it goes, it gets attention. Certainly,
Service Park, yeah.
At the Telstra Service Park and Galvanised Insurance Rally Central, and even for the Velmec wheels on there on Friday night, when all the locals came out to have a look at the cars. There was so much attention on this.
On approach, it goes past a lonely bus stop right there. We should be sitting there, Stubbsy. Then down a little bit of a dip, through the right-hander, and then he'll flick it left. Let's just see what it looks like. Nice. Shifts down a gear and then powers up the hill. Shorter wheelbase too, but nicely done.
Yeah, nice and clean. So hopefully a better day today for Wayne in the 2014 Volkswagen Beetle, the G4 car. So he's in not only the ARC, but the Wolf Cup and the East Coast Cup. So we referred to it a little bit earlier, Rusty. The East Coast Cup is an addition this year, and it's a great stepping stone for someone who may not quite be ready yet to take on a full 6-round ARC championship. But this is a way to get involved and have a real crack at establishing yourself and checking out the next level.
In a cost-effective manner,
Yeah.
which is what you're leading to there, right? So as the name suggests, with an East Coast focus, obviously, there are competitors talking about around work commitments and around budget constraints and so on, what they might do. But already we've seen how close that fight was in Heat 1 here at Accent Benchtops Rally Queensland. Some people seriously eyeing up trying to claim that crown in 2026.
Yeah, it's a great prize, and we're looking forward to crowning the first East Coast Cup champion for 2026 as we wrap up our season at the end of the year. The fans are sticking around, aren't they? They are absolutely loving it, every moment of it. We've got Campbell's, of course, who've been on board with their sponsorship across the weekend, local Bobcat truck suppliers and landscaping. They've got the grandstands in here. They've got their sponsorship there as well, which is great. Maguire's Petters behind us too. So our next car to come through, Nathan Stokes in the 2012 Subaru Impreza WRX, the P5 car. He's in the Wolf Cup, the Wolf Sports Cup, the East Coast Cup.
You can see why this event has been a 2-time E-Road Australian Rally Championship event of the year. Did that 2025 and 24, and a 2-time Galvanised Insurance Rally Central Service Park of the year at the same time. We've got a great crowd in attendance here. Let's have a little watch. Just love the grunt of that thing heading up the hill. Hope you can capture and hear a little bit of that sound on our live stream. If you're following along, rally.com.au is the place that you go for the Subaru Results Hub. You can follow all of our socials. Lots of cool updates and stories, not just what we're bringing you here as a part of the live stream. Don't forget, as Stubbsy said, it's only a few weeks away. In May, we will be on the other side of the country in Western Australia, just down south of Busselton there, around the Margaret River region. Nannup, some iconic roads there. Very different surface to what competitors have been treated to here in Queensland. That will be a good round. Looking forward to round 2 as well. Absolutely.
Another time update for you, speaking of the Subaru Results Hub. Toby Price and Riley Walters, we've been talking about their battle. Well, this was 15.5 kilometre stage, separated by less than 10 seconds. Toby Price getting the job done there over Riley.
You're tight with your money, aren't you? You always have been. I've known that.
WRX challenge. Who sent for me?
Exactly. Dale Lineker on approach. Been rallying for about 3 years. Craig Thomas, the co-driver from Victoria. If you were with us for the 2025 edition of the Gippsland Rally, which will bookend our championship. That is how we're going to wrap things up in season 26. And the Middle of Everywhere Rally has absolutely turned it on in recent years. It will be an endurance round down there.
We saw the bright livery of Nathan Stokes go through last pass. Dale Lineker's car, likewise, have deliberately made it nice and bright with the toys sponsorship along the side, and they had kids climbing over that car and inside the car at Wheels on Mary. So let's see how he goes. He's flamboyant both in and out of the car as he goes down into the slight dip before he makes his way up towards us.
I thought it was a little maybe ginger, as it may have been hard to judge the approach down into the dip before they turn right and come up towards us here. Let's not forget there is a grid in that section or piece of road to be mindful of as well. But I don't want to mark him hard. I felt like he was a bit more flamboyant on the tarmac last night, wasn't he?
He was absolutely lovely. If you didn't see yesterday the coverage, the smiles and the banter between Craig and Dale when Jackie went to interview them, they were having the time of their lives.
This is where we should be. Yeah. We should be in there with a little lemonade, got the umbrella up, beautiful Queensland sunshine, and getting a few waves there.
Yeah,
that's great, lovely,
along.
good stuff.
Great to see.
Nice to have them as a part of the coverage. Here we go, a snapshot of this region, about 170 kilometres north of Brisbane. Why did we not stop in Noosa and the Sunshine Coast along the way? Need to talk to the boss, twist his arm about that next time, don't we? But that is because the rallying takes place just a little inland, around Gympie. 50,000 people live in this region, Stubbsy. It will expand by the early 2030s to around 60,000.
Yeah, built on a gold rush, but it's rallying riches that we're chasing this weekend. Christian Sprenger, we know him from off-road, from two-wheel, and he's made that transition across to four-wheel competition last year, but he's had a few little problems along the way. Yesterday, a couple of just small excursions off the racing line resulted in a little bit of steering damage, first on one side, but then balanced it up with the other side as well. So hopefully today, the wheels, the toe, everything is pointing in the right direction. A great young fella. We've really enjoyed catching up with him and getting to know him. And let's see how it can go here with Jared Vanderhoor alongside him in the 2008 Subaru WRX, the P5 car, East Coast Cup and Wolf Sports Cup.
Car with a lot of history, originally owned by Graham Iddles, and now the former two-wheel competitor Christian Sprenger, who's made the step up from XL competition in rallying. So this is a huge step for him. And it was Dean Herridge that kind of helped broker that deal for the sale of this car.
Well, you could see perhaps there on the vision of him inside the car that, in fact, his co-driver there, Jared, was having to point. I'm not sure if you saw that. The hands were pointing in direction. They've lost comms in that car to each other. So going back to the old school style.
Left.
And the quicker and harder I point left, the quicker and harder you turn left is the theory. But straight away you could see that as they were coming up towards us.
I feel for Jared, like hot, dusty conditions. He'll be screaming doing that, so the voice will be a little hoarse at the end of the day if they can't fix that in a service somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. So how's that for another challenge? It's been a tough weekend for them, but they're battling on, which we love to see. So temperatures heading today to around 30 degrees once again. So super hot inside these cars. Temperatures around 50, 60 degrees in the cabin makes for a brutal day.
Now, fans that followed our live coverage of the Super Special stage last night will remember some of the significant sparks coming off the brakes on this car. And at first glance, with some of our distant shots, we questioned whether, was there a problem of some sort perhaps for this car, because other WRX Challenge machines didn't have that quite spectacular sparks coming off the brakes. Now, we had a word with Dean Herridge, the team boss there last night. No issue. It's just, the glazing, the wear, the kind of pad material and how hard you push them compared to others may, in fact, create that. The net result, Stubbsy, didn't hamper performance. Looked great for us on the telly. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you, guys. We really appreciate that because it was super spectacular. The entire stage last night, and the vision is available if you haven't seen it. You can take a look back on the socials and watch that because it was a great endeavour, wasn't it, by everyone to put on a stage there, to head into town and take rally to the people, and it was worth the effort.
Graham has been around the Maximum team quite a lot over the years. He's even been and supported the Heritages over in China with their rally campaigns, I should say, over the years. But his more recent driving history hasn't fundamentally driven for 3 years. A great addition to the WRX Challenge lineup. It doesn't look spectacular necessarily. It doesn't look fast. He's got Damon Nicoli beside him, another generational rally competitor. But you know what? It's tidy. The car does not have a mark on it, enjoying his day out. And if he's anything like we saw a little bit earlier, he'll have the aircon on and enjoying it.
That's it. He's loving every moment of being part of the E-Road Australian Rally Championship as well. The smile on his face yesterday at the end of the Campbell's Super Special stage was quite evident. And he is, you're not going to say he's going through the motions. He's having a fair crack, but he's playing it smart with those years of experience.
Just enjoy it. Andy Van Can is the next of our competitors who's got quite a bit of rally driving experience. Won the 2022 WA Clubman Masters Championship. Targa West, he's been a standout there as well. First gravel rally, how's this? 1971, 55 years ago.
Wow. Rusty, you weren't even born then.
Yes, I was, sadly. Just.
I wasn't going to give it away.
Thanks.
I was trying to help.
I resemble that remark. Keep going.
Wayne Stewart has crossed the line as well. He's completed the stage. Slots in 11th place, 5.26 behind. So, Harry Bates, if you're just joining us, the fastest through, ahead of Scott Petter by 21 seconds. Lewis Bates back in third, 31 seconds behind. Harry also took out the first and second stages of the day. So he's on a bit of a tear after taking out yesterday's Heat 1 and collecting the 60 points towards the championship. We saw a power stage yesterday as well. But let's focus, though, on our runner at the moment, Andy Van Can.
On approach to the bus stop. You know what? We're nearing the tail of the ARC competitors, but none of the fans have left this spectator point, all still with their phones out. Here we go. Again, tidy. Probably not on as much as he could squeeze power-wise from the accelerator pedal or the throttle, but you know what? He gave it full beans going up the hill. Good job.
And enjoying every moment of it with Catherine Seaman alongside him in the 23 Subaru WRX. So a shout out once again to everyone involved in putting together the WRX challenge.
It's expanded this year, hasn't it? You know, and
it's getting bigger and bigger.
I think it's led to. Hopefully, Dino doesn't mind me saying this, but I have a feeling his phone has rung a little bit this weekend with a few people who may be watching our coverage and contemplating, oh, maybe I could do that at this round, or could I join it at that round, and so on. The team at Maximum may be busy in the months ahead in that regard. That's a good problem, and well done to everyone at Subaru Australia.
That's it, because the demand perhaps outweighing the supply, which is a good problem to have.
They won't have a supply problem there, let me tell you.
If someone wants to race, they'll make a way to
I've never seen him in full deal doer mode. I wonder what he's like there. Yeah, I reckon we could do it, but...
And every hair would be perfectly in place throughout the negotiations.
You know him all too well. Next car, I think, should be Ian Griffin if we're sticking to the
script.
The script here this morning, and we're nearly at the end of our runners this morning. It's been great to bring you basically the whole ARC field here. We should tell people too, Stubbsy, something exciting for season 2026, and that is you'll be able to each day across the weekend, not only just here on our ARC platforms, our E-Road Australian Rally Championship YouTube channel and so on, you can catch it on KO too. We'll be bringing you each day across the weekend something a little special and broadcasting, streaming via KO.
Yep, that's it. We couldn't do that without our awesome supporters such as Subaru, so you can follow along on the times from this stage and from the entire day. Subaru Results Hub, rally.com.au is where you'll find it.
If you could see the names on the side of the car, you'll notice that it wasn't the Australian flag beside each of them. They are very proud. So Ian Griffin, a Scottish rally driver, Emmett McNulty alongside him, an Irishman. That'd be a great conversation to listen to, wouldn't it? From
Scotsman and an Irishman
that's
that walked into a service park.
And we have a growing... I mean, it's such a popular sport over there, right? It's great that they've come down under and they're having a crack at it. Brilliant.
Absolutely. Speaking of having a crack, we'll be doing that throughout the day. Our next live stream for you will be this afternoon from just on 2 p.m, so that's Australian Eastern Standard Time. You'll see it on KO. You'll also see it across all of our socials, and we do welcome KO on board as our new broadcast partner for 2026. Rusty, it's been a bit of fun. It's warm.
I've loved it, Stubbsy.
A great show, great place to be here.
We've got a bit more coming your way this afternoon, so we're not done yet. An exciting Heat 2 still to come.
We'll see you then.